Welcome back to the news of the week, where we bring you all of the updates from the automotive world every single Friday. We're back in the studio. Sirish is back from his hectic travels, and we've got a lot to talk about, starting with a spy shot. We usually don't talk about spy shots on News of the Week, but this one's very, very cool.
Yep, so we got these images yesterday from an unknown source. So this has been spotted testing somewhere around Maharashtra, some side, and this is the upcoming Gurkha pickup. Now, whether this will be launched, we don't know. So these are just images that we've got. Maybe it's a prototype being tested for something else. But this is a clear sign that Force Motors is working on a Gurkha pickup. And there are two things that are interesting here. One, of course, it's a pickup. And the second, it's got proper 4 doors.
Yeah.
So that hints at a proper 5-door long wheelbase Gurkha.
Which we've seen.
Which we actually spied last year.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to come last Diwali.
But it's not here yet.
It's not here yet.
Yeah.
So hopefully this Diwali, we will see it. And that was supposed to come with the higher horsepower version of that engine.
Correct.
Right now, the Gurkha has got 90 bhp, and I think that is the single biggest failing in the Gurkha because it just doesn't have enough power.
Yeah.
The Gurkha is heavy. It is a big beast.
Yeah.
It's also got the aerodynamics of a brick wall. So it does need more power.
Yeah.
Maybe upgrading that engine has taken a bit of time, and that's why the 5-door Gurkha has been delayed. But this pickup shows that the 5-door Gurkha, the long wheelbase, is definitely in the works.
Yes.
And now there's an extension of that platform, the pickup, which, well, styling, you can't really comment on it because this is a prototype. It does look a bit cut and paste, and that's because it is a prototype. Now, we put this up on our Instagram.
But let's just talk about quickly what we can see on it, right?
Sure.
Before we get to the comments. We can see 5 doors. We also see a loading bay. But to my eye, at least, the first time I saw the pictures, I thought it was a little short. You know, it looks shorter than other pickups in the market that we've seen in terms of, say, the V-Cross.
But don't forget, this is the dual cab. It's not a
Exactly.
single cab.
Yeah.
Now, if they had to actually make that loading bay even bigger,
Correct.
this thing would be longer than a bus. It won't, as it is, the Gurkha is massive. Where will this fit in?
No, but you look at the loading bay of a Hilux of a V-Cross. It looks more proportionate. At least the loading bay looks longer.
So, you know, the Hilux is actually longer than a Tata 407 pickup.
Really?
Yeah. So when we did that story, and that story is there in the latest issue of the magazine, you should check that out. Where I did some research on the specs, it's longer than a Tata 407. That thing is huge. So getting the Hilux out of the hotel in Rishikesh, you actually have to look in the rear view mirror to make sure that your loading bay doesn't hit the pillar on the side.
But then that's what gives the Hilux its practicality, right? You can put anything in there. You can put a bike in there.
You can.
It doesn't look like, at least from the images, it doesn't look like you can put a bike on the Gurkha.
Correct. So this is probably a little bit more practical for like regular people.
Correct.
But yeah, if the tailgate folds down.
Yeah. The tailgate's another interesting thing.
Yeah.
So you know, we looked at the pictures and it doesn't stretch the full width of the car or the
so
truck.
if you look at the images or the one image of the rear that we have, that opening is actually the same opening for the tailgate of the regular Gurkha,
Exactly.
the hardtop Gurkha.
And that opens sideways.
That opens sideways. Yeah. So that's why the tailgate, unlike the Hilux, which is a full width tailgate and that flips down, this might open sideways. I think Force Motors will re-engineer that so that the tailgate actually flips down.
I hope so.
If it flips down, you can put one bike. So the rear wheel can rest on the tailgate. So one bike will fit in, like my Pan Am will fit in out there. But only one bike will fit in. 2 bikes won't fit in because the aperture
the width is not enough.
Is not wide enough.
Yeah.
And that's something that you guys did point out when we posted that on Instagram. So I posted it on my Instagram and asked you guys for what you want. My 2 bits, I definitely want more power.
100%. Yeah.
If possible, an automatic gearbox.
Yeah.
Because an automatic in the Thar, that makes it so much more livable as a daily driver in the city. Maybe slightly better interiors. Now,
100%.
We spoke about that yesterday on the way back from our shoot. Now, Force Motors can't really upgrade the interior completely because A, this is what has been crash tested, and B, the reason why the Gurkha is there is because of the Trax, the utility vehicle. All the costs go into the Trax, and that allows the Gurkha to be made, which is a small volume, a low volume vehicle. If Force Motors were to invest like serious amount of money in the Gurkha, Gurkha doesn't have the volumes to justify that.
Yeah.
So because of the Trax, that's why the Gurkha is there. And that's why the Gurkha has the same Trax interior with the Kenwood system, which has got Apple CarPlay.
Yeah.
But otherwise, the steering wheel, it feels very commercial vehicle-ish because, truck-like, because that's coming from the Trax. So that's okay. I think what they can do is like what Toyota does with the Hi-Cross, where the base versions have all those hard, scratchy plastics, and the higher-end versions have a better finish on it.
So it's almost like a panel that's been overlaid on it seamlessly, and you don't realize that it may not be the best.
Exactly. So the basic dash remains the same, and just these panels, like you said, stuck on. That will just enhance
and small
the interior.
stuff that can be shifted out easily. Aircon vents. The aircon vents feel very, very cheap on the Gurkha. It shouldn't be too much to just replace.
Yeah, but then a vendor has to invest in tooling for it.
100%.
So I don't think the Gurkha has those volumes. So I wouldn't bother so much with that. If they actually have the 140 horsepower engine, that will solve 90% of the Gurkha's problems because
to my mind,
power is the solution for everything.
No, I mean, power is one solution, but to my mind, and I was telling you this yesterday as well, look at what the Thar has done and why it has done it. It has achieved the success it has not because it's so capable off-road, that's part of it, but because it's livable. Because the interiors feel like something that you don't mind getting into every day. The older Thar didn't have that. The newer Thar does. So all those fence-sitters who are like, no, I want comfort, I want little this, I want to feel good about my car. They are okay with the Thar now because of how nicely done the interiors are. So if the Gurkha wants to appeal to that wider base, if it wants to get those volumes in, it needs to get that interior feeling a little more special.
To me, I would still live with the interiors if I had 140 horsepower and an automatic gearbox. Because then everything is sorted. That Gurkha looks so cool. Now you see a few Gurkhas on the road. And every time you see one, you like do a double take at it because it just looks so cool. It looks like a Desi G-Wagon.
Absolutely.
And it's really banging over there.
It's big. It's got so much presence. I don't think...
Plus, ride comfort is brilliant on the Gurkha. It's super in terms of the ride. High speed handling, we don't know because it doesn't get up to high speeds. Here's a
thought. Gurkha rear wheel drive.
So the Trax is there.
No, but with the colors and the...
Yeah, so it is possible. That's what I'm saying. Say with the long wheel base, they could have a version, and earlier the Gurkha did have it, right? They did have just a rear wheel drive version. So it is completely doable because that is the Trax.
Exactly.
The Trax is a longer wheelbase Gurkha. So I think Force Motors can do it. Now, Force Motors is very busy because their bread and butter are vans. They are India's biggest van manufacturer. They've just launched the Urbania. We've got a full review of the Urbania on our YouTube channel, and a lot of y'all actually watched it. We thought it would be very, very niche. Evo talking about a van.
It got so many views.
So many views, so many comments. So I was also very interested in driving it, and I was actually quite impressed with that. So Force Motors have their hands full. They've got this all-new Urbania, which is also going to be exported. The Traveller obviously is there. It's not going anywhere. So this is more of a passion project. But I think they should work a little bit more towards it because this is something that enthusiasts also love. And I think there are a few enthusiasts out there who will actually put their money down on it. Whether they'll put their money down on a Gurkha pickup, I think they will because it just adds to the whole versatility, utility, use case scenarios for the Gurkha. You put a motorcycle on it, you put a tent on it, use the loading bay for stuff. So it actually works. It'll obviously be niche compared to the 3-door Gurkha. The 5-door Gurkha might be the volume driver, relatively speaking, because that has the coolness factor, plus the comfort, plus the space, all of that. So there is a lot that can be done. And I hope this is a clear indication that Force Motors haven't forgotten about the Gurkha, but they are working on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you have any comments on what the Gurkha pickup should have, let us know in the comments section. And obviously the guys at Force Motors will be reading that. So you will be putting your 2 cents into the updates of the Gurkha.
Do you want to read out the...
Yep. So we got comments from you guys on the Gurkha. I'll just read out a few of them.
Some nice comments,
Aditya says that nothing new here. Force Motors, then Bajaj Tempo had earlier released this dual cab pickup truck. See, it's all based on the Gurkha, that long wheelbase. What is it called? Savari? No, that is Mahindra. Whatever. Tufan. The Tufan is that extra long wheelbase which can seat maybe 100 people. So it's all based on the same platform.
Yeah.
So it is all doable. Force Cruiser, yep. So Pranav mentions about the Force Cruiser. So the Cruiser is the bigger version. Real Suresh says that it looks like a prototype made using a power saw and a welding tool. It is a prototype after all. So prototypes are unfinished by the very nature of a prototype. So
usually they're all disguised, so we don't see them. But this one was undisguised.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody says Akshay Khambekar says super duper. Rishi says proportions are wrong. Well, if you look at the Gladiator, which is the pickup of the Wrangler, that also doesn't look as cohesive as a Wrangler. But I think you will get used to it. If you see a few of these on the road.
It's also similar to the Bolero camper, you know, in terms of its proportions. It actually looks like the double cab camper.
True. Quinn 6.3 says, waiting for Mahindra to bring a new getaway based on the Scorpio N. That's something that there is potential.
Yeah.
There is a market for it. And I think Mahindra should do it, especially because in their export markets, South Africa, Australia.
There's a big pickup culture.
There's a big pickup market. Yeah. And Mahindra are actually doing pretty well.
Yeah.
I believe there were a bunch of Australian journalists this week at MSPT driving the Scorpio N and the XUV 700. So that's a big export market. Mahindra are doing something in South Africa.
You won't believe it. I got a YouTube recommendation for an Australian review of the Scorpio N.
I too.
You also?
Yes. Yep. So they have a market there. So that should be should work there. Dushyant says that I want to buy this. Finally, Mahindra का कोई अच्छा competition आया है. Somebody says sexy lag raha hai. Okay, this is interesting because Cliff Gerald, he says there were reports of this being tested by the army.
Okay, interesting.
So that's interesting. Now, the army has got a couple of these Gurkhas as the light strike vehicle. So it's heavily modified over the Gurkha that we have. And that has the 140 horsepower engine, so more power and all of that. But the army is familiar with the Gurkha and its capabilities. Maybe this could work for the army.
Yeah.
So
supplies and stuff.
Yep. Better ground clearance. Yeah, well, the Gurkha does have some bits and bobs hanging underneath. The ground clearance is less than the Thar. So this must be a proper vagabond going to the back of Beyond. Why such a small tailgate? So we talked about that because that's the aperture for the regular hardtop Gurkha. Yeah, bike cannot be loaded on this with that sideways opening tailgate. So if they re-engineer the tailgate so that it flips down, that would probably make more sense. Ford should manage to provide this with a 6-speed manual and minimum of 150 horsepower. And if they do so, many will adjust with the other shortcomings. So Varun Vadekar is on point.
Yeah.
The same thoughts that I had. Is it still 4x4x4? Made it with the Mercedes automatic gearbox and borrow the interior from Peugeot or Renault, and Force Motors can pull it off better than Toyota. Well, it's Lucid Dreamer is dreaming, but
lucidly,
but the engine is a Mercedes engine.
Yeah.
So why not a Mercedes automatic gearbox also?
I'm sure they'll have something.
Yeah, never know. Or they should just import a gearbox. The ASIN 6-speed automatic is something that everybody seems to be using. Maybe that. So if it's priced right, could be a great option for overland. That's also good alloy wheels. So I know that Force Motors have got a couple of sets of the fuel wheels.
Are those fuel wheels?
No, these are not fuel wheels. So the fuel wheels, we got a same set on our long-term test Thar. I hope the editors put up some pictures of it now. So those are very cool looking wheels. In fact, Wheels India makes those fuel wheels. They also make these dynamic motorsport wheels right here in India, which we've made our table with. So those wheels on the Gurkha will look really cool and maybe one size up. So it also looks a little cooler. And yeah, so a flat roof. Who needs auto gearbox? I need an auto gearbox. Seems jugaad. Not jugaad, but yeah, a little bit cut pace. Increase the dealer network and authorized service centers. Definitely.
Yeah.
That will definitely make a difference. But obviously now they're using the existing Force network, which is selling the Traveler. So, yeah. Okay. So these are your comments. If you have any more comments, drop it in the comments below. And I think we should move on. We've been talking on this for a bit now.
And I mean, the next order of business is to talk about our magazine. We've got the May issue of the magazine on stands now. You should go hit the link in the description and buy your copy. Or if you just want to type it out, evoindia.com/magazine. We've made it as simple as possible for you guys. We've got two epic cars on the cover. We've got the Taycan Turbo S and the Panamera Turbo S. And I mean, this was a story that I missed. I missed the shoot of this story, but it's something I really wanted to be there for because I think it shows the past and the present in one frame. You know, it's four-door Porsches with grand touring intentions, luxury car but sporty intentions. They're the same template, but one is a proper old school turbo V8, one is an electric car.
And both have the turbo badges.
And both have Turbo S badges.
Turbo S, which is the absolute all singing, all dancing Porsches.
Absolutely. I know it's funny that the Taycan gets a Turbo S badge, but that's what Porsche calls their
the i7, it also has the left paddle
for boost.
Yeah. So all the terms that we grew up with, boost, turbos, all of that, ICE will continue with it, but in a completely different application.
Absolutely.
Of course, giving more power. Now, I did that story. I did launch control runs. First, I did it in the Panamera Turbo S, and I was like, the front end lifts. It's like a ship. It lifts, and there's like this mad amount of noise, and it's brutal, and it's like, oh! And then, every gear shift is like, oh! Like,
microphone.
It's really something. It's violent. And then you sit in the Taycan, and it's all quiet. You put it into Sport Plus, and that weird sound generator makes those noises, all those freaky noises. You step on it, and your brain can't process anything. It's so fast that your instant reaction is survival instinct, where because of that, your right foot goes for the brake. Otherwise, you would forget to brake also. I can process 0 to 100 in 3.1 seconds, but 0 to 100 in 2.8 seconds, my brain, at least right now, it simply cannot process what's going on. It is so fast. It is so violent. It's like,
you just...
I think you forget to scream also.
Yeah.
It's, you just don't know the first time. You just don't know, like, what hit you.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. And these electric cars, the further and further they go and push this envelope, I don't think the human body will be able to take it. Maybe in a GT3, okay, you expect that because, fitter guys, wannabe sports car guys are driving that. No, wannabe racers. But a Taycan Turbo S is for a luxury gentleman or gentlewoman.
Yeah.
Gentlewoman or lady? How do you... anyway, so...
People.
For them, this kind of power is just freaking unreal. And it can do this 10 times over and over again. So, like with all Porsches, because their PDK gearboxes are so reliable, they can do launch control runs over and over again without overheating. The same with the Taycan Turbo S. 10 launch control runs over and over until the battery runs out of juice. And the battery will run out of juice very quickly when you do these runs. But it can do those violent runs. And we did those runs, and eventually we didn't have enough juice to film it. It's just so stupid. It's such a stupid thing, but your brain stops working. You can't process everything, and then you're not looking at the range, and you do this once and no, okay, now I have to feel it again. Then you do it again. Oh no, okay, I didn't think about now what I have to write about it. So I need to process something. Then you do it again. Then you start to understand a little bit about it. You take a breather. Then you do it again, and then by the time your juices run out, and you have to keep enough range to shoot and get back to a charging station. So that story was just epic,
and it's a very well written story. I think it's worth a read.
Thank you.
But yeah, do go get the issue. There's a lot of other cool stories in there as well.
And I should tell you that stories like this, we don't put it on our website because there is no joy reading it on a website. I don't think you'll go through 5 pages on
it's a
the
long
screen
story.
Reading it. It just doesn't work for the web. It works for print. So I know we sound like dinosaurs, but we also have a video coming up. So the video will be there on our channel without, unfortunately, a launch control run in the Taycan Turbo S. But read the story in the magazine. You will really love it. Trust me on it.
And good pictures as well.
We found a new location. So because we were driving these Porsches, we went to a new location. In fact, that issue also has a lovely story on the M340i with the 320 LD. That video is already there on our YouTube channel. So that's another nice story. A lot of cool stories, relevant stuff. MG Comet, my detailed thoughts on what the Comet is like.
That's also some 3,000 word story you've written.
So normally our first drives are shorter, but there was so much to talk about. And I believe that this could be a game changer. The pricing, 10 lakh rupees, is not like game-changing price, but the whole concept is a game-changing concept.
I wrote the same thing in my column as well, that it has potential to shake things up for the urban car space.
So have a watch, have a look at the magazine, and let us know what you guys think.
Yeah. Okay, next up, talking about fast cars, launch control, all of that. Yesterday, we were launching another car, that GT63 SE Performance. That was also wild.
So now let me put this into perspective.
Yeah.
Early morning, drove the car from home to our shoot location.
Yeah.
And I thought it was just too much. It was too stiff. The seats are too stiff. 3 crores plus for that. The pricing is just insane. Yeah. And it is the GT63 S 4-door with now hybrid.
Correct.
The only difference that I noticed was while driving it to our shoot location was that the throttle was a bit too jumpy and there was a constant whine.
Yeah.
Maybe like an electric motor whine or whatever. There was a constant whine. And I couldn't see the point of it, honestly. That why would you spend this kind of money on
Panamera
a
costs
GT?
less.
A Panamera costs less. You can get a 911 Turbo and load it to the gills at this price. So why would you do that? And then when the driver came to pick it up, we thought we'll just do a couple of launch control runs. And oh my God, if that Taycan Turbo S was wild, this one is a 1/10 of a second slower to 100. Now, these are obviously the claimed figures. You won't get these figures in India with our roads and all of that. So, a 1/10 of a second slower, but it has noise.
Yeah.
It has drama. The Taycan has got that whee, so there's no noise.
Yeah.
Here, there's all those sensations that you have grown up with amplified.
Yeah.
The way it launches, like that Panamera, the nose lifts, it lays 4 black lines on tarmac. The tires is digging into the tarmac. If you had done more launch control runs at that particular space, it would have probably dug itself into the core of the earth.
Yeah.
And the way it shoots ahead. In fact, we should play that video. So Aditya, our filmmaker, was sitting at the back and he took a video of Aatish and Mandar screaming away while this run was going on.
Yeah.
It's insane. And we actually took our interns out in it. And
I'm laughing. I'm just giggling thinking about it right now.
The way it fires itself at the horizon. In second gear, I think around 6,000 RPM in second gear, it was wheel spinning and the ESP was cutting in and we were in race mode. So race mode is ESP in a very limited form. But second gear, mid-second gear, the torque overwhelming it. How much torque?
1400 something.
Yeah.
With the
1470 or something Newton meters. That much torque. It's unbelievable the way it...
I was thinking about what this car is and what actually hybrid performance cars at this level are. They take the things that we love about our engines, the noise, the drama, that to and fro, ebb and flow of power, and they fill in the weak spots with electric power.
Yep.
So they take the advantages of both, the negatives of neither, and nicely combine them.
And in the morning, I left at 5:30 in the morning. I could creep out of my society without waking up the neighbors.
Yeah.
So my wife didn't get angry calls later on saying that, oh, you woke us up early morning. So in silent electric, you creep out, you go to your location, turn everything to full volume and just go for it.
It's unbelievable.
That thing is a beast.
It really is.
It's an absolute beast.
Yeah, it has its flaws, I think.
It's
like
too
you
stiff.
said,
It's just too hard, man. It's supposed to be a grand
luxury.
tourer.
Yeah, it doesn't feel
but it doesn't do luxury.
Doesn't do softness, I think.
Yeah,
it does luxury. But
it doesn't do softness. A little comfort needs to be there. But I think when you put your foot down, you forget about everything. And that comes back to what I said at the start.
Yeah.
Power is the solution to everything.
True.
If you have a problem, just throw power at it.
Talking like Jeremy Clarkson now.
But it's a fact. That Maruti is the hard tech platform. We criticize it for being light and this and that. Now when they put the turbo engine into it, I forgot to criticize it. Because power solves everything.
True.
So I just put more power here. You have a problem, just throw power at it. It gets sorted out.
And we took this GT63 to the underground.
Yeah, so that's why we got the GT63.
Yeah. So underground is essentially this car meet that happens. How often does it happen? Is it once a year?
I think once a year.
Yeah.
Yep.
And this time it was timed with the release of Fast X. So Jeet Tapasvi, who runs Tapasvi Racing.
Yeah, the Tapasvi brothers, I think 3 of them.
Tapasvi Racing. They organized this car meet, and it was in this basement of a mall in Pune. And it was, I've never been to anything like this in India before. It was it was a culture shock in some ways, because.
So what you see in Fast and the Furious, Tokyo Drift and all that.
Something like that.
It's that similar template.
Yeah. Absolutely.
With a lot of our Indian cars.
Yeah.
But that same noise, the same banging music, the same hooligans going revving the nuts out of their engines, blowing head gaskets. It was wild.
It was wild. And there was a whole range of cars. There was everything from, what was it, a turbo
There was
Eon?
There was an i10 with Eon, yes. There was a Hyundai Eon with a wing that was probably twice the width of the...
So there was really insanely funny stuff, but there was also like some really tastefully done stuff.
So Adil, he really loved that Tiago. He couldn't stop raving about that Tiago, which was a little bit lowered, and you're saying it's so tastefully done, so tastefully done. So we should put some images from Adil's Instagram over here to illustrate that, because I couldn't find where that Tiago was. Maybe I didn't go.
But there was everything. There was SS80s.
There was an SS80. There were two SS80s. Yeah. One with that covered lights, and I don't know what they were doing with it, but that looked cool.
There were 118 NEs there. There were Octavias. There were everything under the sun.
There was that fastest GTR in India.
Yeah.
That was there. There were Ferraris. There was the 296 GTB.
Yeah.
That came down from Ferrari Delhi.
There was a McLaren.
There were Lambos. Obviously, there were Lambos. So we went in sustainable cars.
Probably the greenest cars.
The greenest cars over there.
You went with green plates.
Yep. So I took the RS e-tron GT.
Yeah.
Silently creeping in. And that thing in the basement, it just looks wicked.
Unreal. Those lights at the rear, man. There's on something else. Audi's lights are just unreal.
So we made no noise, but everybody turned around to look at us.
Yeah.
And then you were behind me in the GT63.
As silent, because we were in electric mode.
Yeah, exactly. Creeped into the underground, the most sustainable cars out there, no emissions. And that's one thing that, if I had one criticism on underground, they should find a basement which has better exhaust ventilation.
100%.
Because people who come here are car nuts. Yeah. And they tend to go overboard also with the revving and all of that. And then there was drifting.
Yeah. The drifting was not a problem.
It was the burnout after that.
The burnout.
But I must say, Sanam, that the first time we went past, I was like, man, this guy's got some huge ass nuts.
It was unbelievable. You had to be there to believe it. It was a car's width, little more than a car's width, the space between the pillars.
Yep.
And he was fully sideways between them.
Yeah.
There were people around.
I think he went like 1 inch close to that Jeep or the Thar or something parked there. I thought he was going to smash that. Oh man.
My heart was in my mouth. But also it was such a show. Like, it was a proper show. That was a show. You know?
And then after Pune, they also did Bombay. But Bombay was far saner because it was in the Geo Mall. So you couldn't do all this underground stuff. But the Pune edition was wild. Hopefully our video editors will get over that and cut the video of it and put it up on the channel, but you guys should check it out. We couldn't do any bites because the noise was so much that I think I lost my voice in half an hour. And even if we had done any pieces to the camera, you couldn't have heard it because it was mad noise.
Loud, properly loud cars. Every car there was just loud. You know?
And then there was loud music on top of that, and there was bike stunting. There were burning the tires.
They were lighting the rear wheels on rear tires on fire and then doing burnouts. It was insane.
It's awesome to see this in India.
Yeah.
There are people who will hate this.
Yeah.
And I completely agree with them. But this is good that we have a counterculture. A counterculture is very important. There needs to be a bit of hooliganism because these are passionate guys. No, you need a place to vent your enthusiasm. So I'm all for it. At 8 o'clock, I had it and I left because I couldn't take any more of that smoke. My lungs probably are lined with rubber. But I loved it. Those 4 hours that we were there, I loved it. And I loved the scene. And this can only grow from here.
I hope it does, yeah.
And they had done it in a proper underground fashion because I posted
neon lights and this and that.
Also, 2 days before, I posted a thing saying that see you all there tomorrow. And they called and said, no, you're breaking underground rules. It's only by invite.
Okay.
So not many people knew about it also. So it was like a proper underground scene.
But it was still packed, yeah?
It was packed, exactly.
There were a lot of people there.
Yep. So Underground 8.1, that's what they called it.
Yeah.
Really cool. We'll have a story also in the next issue of the magazine. So check that out. And yeah, let's move on.
Now
What else?
we're talking about actual news, the proper news. Let's talk about the X3 M40i. Now this is the facelifted version of the X3 M40i. You've driven the older one.
Yep.
It has been launched at rupees 86.5 lakhs, which is around the same as the
Yep. Little bit more. Yeah, a little bit more, but not that much more. The M340i is, I think, 69. So,
is it?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, so fair bit more actually.
Yep.
355 bhp.
And it's also a CBU. It's not assembled here. The M340i is
CBU.
assembled in India.
Correct. 355 bhp, 500 Nm, 4.9 seconds, 0 to 100. Obviously, all-wheel drive, all of that. You've got some very strong opinions about this.
So ask me if anybody should buy it.
That's what I was going to say.
Come on, ask me.
You've got some very strong opinions.
Ask me.
Should anyone buy it?
I don't know. No. You should not buy it. Because as good as the M340i is, the X340i is not that good.
X3 M40i.
The X3 M40i. It was meant to be the 3 Series that, if you didn't want a sedan, you wanted the practicality of an SUV, more ground clearance, better ride comfort. So then you would buy the X3M.
Yeah.
But it is nowhere like that because it's just too bloody stiff.
Yeah.
When I drove the earlier one, and this new one hasn't changed in terms of the suspension and all of that, it's like they put stones in the suspension. It's just so stiff. We did a sideways shot, and if we find it, we'll play it out also. So I'm fully sideways, full opposite lock, and the inside wheel has lifted because it's just so stiff.
So rigid.
So having a rigid platform is fine, but the suspension, there's not much travel. It's just too stiff. The engine is great. Everything else is great and all of that. This one does not still get the curved screen, which the M340i is. But trust me, the M340i is just brilliant.
Yeah.
You just cannot go wrong with it. We do see a lot of these M340i's now on the road. A lot of them are tuned.
There was one at Underground.
There was one at Underground, but that had a awfully loud exhaust.
Yeah.
It was just noise. It was just noise to hurt your eardrums. It was not a sweet noise. At the Hyderabad drags, there were a couple of tuned M340i's, all doing some really massive times, looking at their posts. Not much tuning, but they can get a lot of power out of that engine. That engine is a bulletproof engine. So you want a fast car, M340i, BMW, you cannot go wrong. Just buy it, man.
Yeah. And I think to summarize it, the comfort is what is the clincher for that car, right?
Because no. So a lot of guys did ask me and said, "Nee, please merko batao. We'll not tell anybody. Just merko batao. That is it comfortable?" Honestly, it's not as comfortable as the 3 Series.
Obviously.
And this one has got the bigger wheels than the earlier M340i. So it is stiff. It's not unusable. Yeah. Like you said, it's not unusable. Yeah. But it is stiff. So if you're looking for a comfortable daily driver, it's not going to like corset you. You are going to feel little. It's not going to touch over speed breakers unless it's got like some awful speed breakers near your place. But you are constantly going to feel a tick, 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 tick. It's going to make you feel like, you're driving something that is worthy of that M badge.
For sure. Now, coming to the bikes, there's been some interesting launches. The XPulse, it's got an update. There's a couple of new features, and I think
it's got a rally mode?
It's an ABS mode for the rally.
Okay.
So I'm not sure what that is exactly. But yeah, and there's 2 trims now. There's a base trim and a pro trim. The pro trim is more rally biased. So it has a higher seat height. It has more ground clearance. The handlebar risers. I guess what they've done with the rally kit, I'm assuming that's what they've put into the pro.
Yep. They're also doing a lot of the rallies in the Indian circuit.
Yeah.
They are winning. And I think those learnings are also being transferred to the road bike.
Yeah.
So I think it's overall great.
Yeah. And
affordable, right?
Of course, it is affordable. As for an adventure tourer, for the package that it is, it's actually great value.
Yeah.
And sticking with Hero, we saw pictures of a new Karizma.
Leaked pictures.
Leaked pictures, yeah.
Must be from a dealer conference or something.
Must be.
But the Karizma is back. Yeah. Now, you are a millennial, right? What are you, millennial, Gen Z, Gen X, Gen whatever?
I can't,
Okay, chalo, millennial. Yeah. Does the Karizma name ring a bell?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, so to me, when I was growing up, when the Karizma came, that was the first big capacity motorcycle. Today it sounds funny talking about a 223 or something it was, being a big capacity motorcycle. But in those days, the Karizma was a big capacity motorcycle. It was like, whoa! It really created huge amount of hangama in those days. So the Karizma coming back it strikes a chord with me because that's a motorcycle that I grew up. Maybe now I have grown out of this class, but it does strike a chord with me. I will be interested in it. Now, in that leaked image, the styling looked nice. It had XMR, right? They call it?
It was called something else.
I think Karizma
ZMR.
XMR. Yeah, so XMR. Yeah. The ZMR was the last Karizma which was sold, which I think they made it really not nice looking. It was too rounded, bulbous, I don't know what. I didn't like it. But this is XMR. At least that's what I can make out from the images. I think it'll be nicely styled. Yeah. What engine? I don't think this is the 400 something that Hero's working on, because that will first go in the Harley and then in the XPulse and then later on. So this will probably be around the 250 mark only. But I think it's a cool addition. Yeah. And it's now going to grow Hero's premium bike vertical. So more interesting motorcycles than just the bread and butter Splendors. So it's overall nice. It shows that Hero is working on this other vertical, feed into the enthusiasm.
And they've been on this journey for a while now.
It's a long lead process. You can't just like snap your fingers and you get new motorcycles. But now that it's starting to roll out, we'll then probably have newer ones coming thick and fast.
And I'm glad they're taking it slow. You know, they've really put a lot of time and effort into the XPulse, I feel, you know, from where it started to where it is today. And
okay, that's one way of looking at it. I wouldn't say, and I hope people are not watching this and saying, oh, it's great to take it easy, because I think they're taking it too slow. It should have probably come a year or two earlier.
Enough, but like maybe, sure. But I think they've got a good community around the XPulse now.
Exactly.
You know? They've got a community of voices which will talk highly of the motorcycle, which will recommend the motorcycle, and newer riders coming into the fold look at it seriously as a serious option, and not as this is some Indian bike that I don't want to get. You know, I want to look for something.
And the motorsport has put proper credibility there. Yeah. It's winning rallies. And the learnings from motorsport are going back into the road bike.
Absolutely.
All of that is now feeding into the 450 project. So it is got proper DNA. Yeah. The XPulse started from when Hero actually jumped into the Dakar. So that's when the project started. Yeah. Obviously, it came in from the Impulse, which was the last Hero Honda. So there is proper heritage to it, and that's what I really like about the story. It comes from a genuine place. Yeah. It's driven by genuine people. So I'm all for it. Of course, I really would like that bigger engined XPulse to come tomorrow, not day after tomorrow. Aatish, you can wait, but I don't want to wait that long. So hopefully that comes soon. And that will to me, the XPulse, you can't tour on it. Because it's too strained. Yeah, it's too strained on the highway.
Yeah, that's true.
When you want to make quick overtakes, you are already at 80, 90, and then there is no dum in the engine to make those quick overtakes. So it's not, if you're riding fast, it's not that safe also, because you want more power to just back the throttle open and go. Today you can do little faster speeds also on the highway. You have faster cars on the highway. So you want to get away from all the riffraff who are all bunched together at 80, 90, right? All of them are driving at 80, 90 because the speed limit is 80. So everybody is at that same speed. You want to just stay ahead of that pack, because over there, one person makes a mistake, 10 cars go into each other. Yeah. Those are those pileups that are happening today. So you just want to stay ahead of that. For that, you need a little bit more power. So that 420 or 450 XPulse, it can't come too soon, and I'm really looking forward to it. Before that, the Himalayan 450 will be there.
Yeah.
Yep. They are doing their global launch in Ladakh. Yeah. So everybody is coming down to Ladakh. The Himalayan is going to its namesake, to the Himalayas. I'm definitely going for that. Yeah. I'm now learning how to stand and ride and all that. So, thoda bahut aata hai how to ride off-road. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. And I'm sure now Royal Enfield is also working on a Dakar program. CS Santosh is now working with Royal Enfield. They are working on a Dakar program. I wouldn't be surprised if we'll see Dakar stickers on that 450 Himalayan.
That'll be interesting.
Yep. Yeah. And hopefully that will also have credibility. It won't just be a marketing exercise, but it'll have proper credibility. There will be some link between the rally motorcycle and the road motorcycle.
Yeah, I hope so.
So it's very interesting times. And I think that ADV space is something that is untapped, has potential, and is relevant from an India perspective.
For sure.
Because sports bikes, after a while, you get tired. You can't have stiff suspension because of the roads being what they are. Okay, great for the track, but on the road, you really need to be committed. Yeah. Whereas these ADV bikes with a little bit more power, you can easily keep pace with sports bikes, and you will be not even 5% as tired as those riding sports bikes. I know from personal experience, from the 14R to the Pan Am, even though the Pan Am is a little bit heavier and all of that, but after ride, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I can have a shower, take my wife out for lunch. On the 14R, reached home, I would tell my wife, please give me lunch now, eat lunch, and then sleep for 6 hours. So, big difference.
Yeah. The other bike we want to talk about is the 390 Adventure. Now, I remember when it launched, everyone was going on, will we get the real Adventure, or will we get some watered down version? And we finally have it. We finally have a 390 Adventure with spoked wheels, with fully adjustable suspension.
Yep.
So, I guess for the hardcore guys who want to take their adventures more off-road than on-road, who want that play and that adjustability to play around with their suspension, they can do it.
So, honestly, I think that the spoke wheels will appeal to a far wider audience than just people who want to go off-roading. Now, my Pan Am, the only thing that it lacks are spoked wheels. And I've been hunting for spoked wheels for it. It's not like I'm some mad off-road rider and all that.
Yeah.
But I want my ADV to have spoked wheels.
Like that, huh?
Yeah. I just want those very spoked wheels. So that's my be all and end all right now, that I want spoked wheels on my bike. Not that I'm going to really use it, and not that my adventure riding is so much that I'm going to crack the rims, but I want spoked wheels.
No, but to be fair, for India conditions, the amount of potholes we have on our highways and the speeds that 390 Adventure can do, spoked wheels are, a fair addition,
So that's the logical side. But cool factor, ADV bike has to have spoked wheels. Does the GS have rims, alloy wheels? No, na.
But it has tubeless spokes.
Whatever. But the GS has spokes, right? So that's why every other ADV bike has to have spokes.
Okay.
End of story.
So on that note, we are going to end the news of the week. Thank you, Sirish, for your insights on spoked wheels. And we'll see you next week. This is Aatish, Sirish, signing off.
Thank you guys for watching. And of course, if you enjoyed this, give us a thumbs up.
Yeah.
Subscribe to the Evo India channel. Hit that bell icon. Share this with enthusiasts. And if you have any ideas or thoughts on what we should be talking about, drop it in the comments, DM us on Instagram, on Twitter, and we'll pick it up from there. Thank you, guys.